Hello, viewers. Welcome to the final episode of the Invincible Talks. I'm Neelam Kumar, your host and the author of this book. Through the Invincible Talks, my friends, I have tried to dispel the grimness of the pandemic with some sunshine, positivity, but most importantly, hope. There have been no sob stories here, just brave, powerful ones from real life adversity fighters. And hi Jamie, I'll just introduce you. As the pandemic keeps raging around us, heartbreaking stories continue to pour in from all over the world. Many of us have lost precious, dear, and near ones. The air seems heavy with loss, suffering, and unresolved grief. Therefore, I thought that for this final episode, let me bring for my precious viewers a shining warrior of life, all the way from Arizona, Phoenix, USA, to equip us with the life skills required to handle grief during this pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Jamie Lee Silver, the inspirational Jamie, who has turned the devastating loss of her 22-year-old son into a source of strength and positivity for thousands around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, let us applaud this brave woman.
Thank
Jamie,
you.
thank you so much for coming here on the
Thank
Invincible
you.
Talks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. Hello, wonderful, wonderful viewers.
Jamie, do share your story with us.
Okay, thank you, Neelam. Um, First of all, I have to start with the fact that I have been a practicing Buddhist for almost 40 years. And I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And part of that practice is really a belief that life is eternal and that no life ever dies,
True.
ever, that it can't die. So I raised both of my boys, Aaron and Ben, to chant. And Aaron is my oldest. He's an amazing, wonderful man. I'm here in Phoenix because this entire last year, he has been chief resident at the hospital over all the other residents, arranging schedules, helping people with COVID. It's just like, it is a legacy he will always have for the rest of his life. That's Aaron. And then Ben, my second child, was about 3 years younger. And Ben was a lot like me. He was poetic and he wrote songs and he played guitar. Aaron did some of that too. He always had a little bit of forgetfulness and a little bit of being scattered. So he and I would often just like look at each other and laugh. And when he was 20, he had been a star runner for many, many years. And he got a full scholarship to college and he couldn't run anymore. Something was wrong with his right ankle. Nobody knew what it was. We went to multiple doctors. So he was away at college. He had to spend time with the team and he couldn't run. And he was the shortest boy on campus, which is true. So he just started breaking down emotionally. And things got worse and worse and worse and worse. He ended up losing his scholarship, coming home, and going in and out of hospitals for 2.5 years. And just being it turned out it was schizophrenia. And then we could not find for him a halfway house between the hospital and the next place. They just did not, what he needed didn't exist. And he ended up taking his life. And I'll never forget how, as a Buddhist, I had always learned that the bigger the obstacle, the bigger the benefit. It's a way of life to really truly believe that no matter what happens to you, you can use it as a springboard. So I sat down in front of Michael Hanzan, my altar, and started chanting and sincerely. And honestly, when I look back at this, Neelam, I'm like amazed I could do it. You know what I mean? Because my heart was literally ripped out of my body, right? I mean, I'm a human being, right? And I sat down and I wrote my blog, chantforhappiness.com, and I made the declaration that since this was the worst thing that had happened to me, I will make the best, not just for myself, but for other people who are suffering. And I've lived my life out of that determination ever since.
Oh my God, I don't know, you say you're human, but I think you're a Buddhist. That defines you. Jamie, when I read your story, I must confess, I cried a lot. I'm a mother myself, so I cried a lot. With your permission, Jamie, may I read out a few lines
Oh,
from
sure.
this? So I have to hold back my tears. They told me your son is deceased, and I knew my life would never be the same. My bright light, my sweet boy, my hugger, my musician who sang to me and played guitar for me, my fellow enjoyer of sunsets and oceans and hiking and woods and laughing with me. My sweet boy was gone. My son, my son, my Benjamino, my Ben, my Benji was gone forever. The ground shifted beneath my feet. I became as fragile as a baby bird in my heart. Oh, Jamie, please tell us how you turned this huge loss into something positive.
Every morning when I chanted, first of all, my first response was to gather everyone I loved around me. I opened up the doors and just said, everyone, come over. Just come. Just come. Everyone I knew, I'm like, come to my house. Come over. So they could comfort me and I could comfort them because Ben was beloved. He wasn't just mine. He was the world's Benjamin Lee Silver. He was a kind, loving human. And partly, I think, because he was short, he was only 5'3". He got picked on for that, of course. So he was always a defender of other people who were similarly picked on. But really, the key to it also for me, besides that prayer and deep determination, was to write to him and allow him to write back to me. And this just came to me really that there was no absolute way that he was gone from me. It just wasn't possible that kind of love that had, as he later told me in his writing, he confirmed, we'd been together lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Just because he wasn't physical anymore didn't mean that we weren't still together just because I couldn't see him. So I started writing to him. And I'll never forget, I went to a suicide loss support group, and everybody around the table was going, I never got my note. I never got my note. I never got my note. And I thought, oh my God, I'm so fortunate because I got my note. Every time I wrote to him, he wrote back to me. So his continual messages, and he became immediately my biggest cheerleader. My mom, you got this, you got this, you got this, you got this. And I teach others that they can pick up a pen and have their loved one write back to them. And it is one of the gifts that I offer, one of them, along with some others, but I'll let you go on and we'll see if those will be revealed.
Wow. And also, I think, could you tell us about the Ben mile or
Oh,
something
yes, yes,
that
yes,
you
yes.
started in his memory?
So his friends who loved him so much came to us. This wasn't even my idea. And they said, we must do something in his name. And we all met every week for a year and founded this organization called Ben's Memorial Mile. You can find it on bensmemorialmile.com. And every year, besides last year, we did virtual, but we gather at his high school track. And there is an elite mile for real runners, a senior half mile. There's a walk, and it's a festival. It's a week-long festival in the town that I raised my boy, whom everyone knew because he broke so many records. He was a running phenom, and it brings the community together. And we create new community, and there's music and dance and kids events. And we've raised over $100,000 for schizophrenia research and suicide prevention and for the National Alliance of Mental Illness. We are crossing our fingers that we might be able to do it live a little bit more out there in the distance, but if not, we'll do it virtually.
Jamie, we are both Buddhists, so all we have to do is chant. Yeah, so it will happen. It's going
Thank you
to
for
happen.
reminding me.
So, Jamie, can you tell us what are the tools for handling grief? I mean, it's amazing that you've done it in such an inspirational manner. How
Thank
does
you.
one handle grief, especially during the pandemic?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, besides chanting, the other tool I use is EFT tapping. EFT, emotional freedom techniques, or tapping, which uses the body's nervous system by gently tapping on your nervous system or energy meridians. You can look at it one of two ways. So I present it differently depending on who my audience is and what their frame of reference is. And it calms down your nervous system. And what I did was I sought out professionals, and then I became a professional myself. So I help people with grief. That's my specialty. So what we do is we go back to certain moments, and without having to re-experience all of the pain, there are gentle ways to do this. Just free from the body's energy systems those emotional charges that actually embed themselves in your body. So I have done that with professionals for the past few years, ever since Ben became eternal. And now I help people with it. And it is the biggest gift that I have to offer, next to helping people learn to chant who are wanting to learn to chant.
That's so beautiful, Jamie. Jamie, so does spirituality help in overcoming grief and adversity? Can you say something to us in a little bit of detail?
Well,
Spirit.
spirituality to me, my life revolves around my practice of chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. And it means I fuse my life with the mystic law of cause and effect through sound vibration. And it's really recognition that I am the universe. I am the Buddha, and so is everyone else. And when I chant for my life to sparkle so that I can help other people. So they'll be drawn to me and be like, who's that sparkly girl? What's that about her that's so special? And that when they're on me, they're like, whoa, I think I might want to try that for however long, a lifetime, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And the thing is that I deeply believe in my core that, and through what Ben told me, that this, in fact, was meant to happen, was part of the plan. And as much as it hurts, when you really, like Ben has told me, Mom, Ben, can make much more of a difference now than being on earth with my tortured brain and schizophrenia. I can just, and he tells me that he can be everywhere kind of at the same time. And it just gives me this insight into eternity, and into the eternity of love. So spirituality is the foundation and core of all of it. And thank goodness I was a practicing Buddhist for, since 1985, before Ben died, so that I could have that deep determination to turn poison into medicine.
That's so empowering. I believe every word that you say because I have been a practicing Buddhist since 2005. And my life itself is proof of the power of the mystic law because I have battled and been victorious over 3 life-threatening illnesses, 2 cancers, and 1 meningitis. And so, Jamie, I will never forget. Uh, there it was one, in your very, very popular blog, chantforhappiness.com, in which you had published my life story. And on top of that, this was 2 years back, and you had written, Neelam's mother is not well at this moment. So, you know, everyone chanted all over the world. Your blog reaches all over the world. And I just have to thank you. My mother became eternal a week back. And I really think, Jamie, you are the person who made her, who extended her life by 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
My mother was a practicing Buddhist. She had wanted me to be always brave and invincible. And therefore, I carry on her message and continue to do the mission that has been assigned to me. So thank you so much for that, Jamie.
Wow, Neelam. I'm incredibly humbled, honored. I had no idea.
That's okay. So, Jamie, I want you are such an amazing person. You are brilliant, blazing light itself. So I want you to share with my viewers the formula for becoming invincible.
It's the attitude that actually a friend from Japan who came to San Francisco when I was a baby Buddha there. And he said to me, whenever I get a big problem, I think, yay, I'm going to have a big benefit. And it is a way of living. It's a way of living. It's an attitude. And the idea that through my life, I can make the world a happier place through my chanting, through my teaching, through my tapping with people. I went and got certified from the most difficult school, that exists, so I can make sure that if somebody sits down in front of me and trusts me enough to help them, then I know exactly what to do. And I'm not going, so I think having that determination to use your life like you have, Neelam, to help others is a key to happiness too.
Bless you. Jamie, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the Invincible Talks tonight and empowering us with such a valuable session. Viewers, let us revisit each inspiring word that Jamie has spoken. Together, let us ride the grief of the pandemic bravely. You know, yes, times are tough, but I truly believe the human spirit is tougher. So let's all become invincible. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you, Neelam.
Bless you.